Alright, before I start this video, I just want to be serious for 1 second and just say, no truckers, no food, bitch. See, what Jagmeet and Trudeau did with India during the farmers' protests, Garma took that shit really personally. And I really wanted to do this video in English because this is international news. This doesn't just concern India. So in case you're not aware of what is going on in Canada, this is huge news that you really should know. So currently there are huge protests going on in Canada, led mainly by truckers who are protesting against the Canadian government's vaccine mandates. Currently there are literally thousands and thousands of trucks in and around the capital of Canada, Ottawa, as a part of these protests. There are thousands of people in downtown Ottawa right now protesting against these mandates. Massive podcasters like Joe Rogan are being blown away by the size of these protests.
It's a giant convoy of trucks that's apparently some insane amount of people, like 50,000 trucks, that are headed to Ottawa to protest the vaccine mandates by Trudeau.
But what's interesting is that despite the size of these protests, Canada's first black Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, called these protesters a fringe minority.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians.
After which, of all people, Elon Musk went on social media and trolled Justin Trudeau, saying that looking at the size of the protests, it seems that the Canadian government is the fringe minority. And listen, being an Indian, I can't pretend that the irony is lost on me or that the irony isn't absolutely f***ing delicious. It was not that long ago that tractors were outside the Indian capital, much like trucks are currently outside the Canadian capital. And I want you to remember Justin Trudeau's bold statements during the farmers' protests in India.
Let me remind you, Canada will always be there to defend the right of peaceful protest. We believe in the importance of dialogue, and that's why we've reached out through multiple means directly to the Indian authorities.
He was talking about the importance of engagement and dialogue with protesters when it comes to foreign countries. But what did this great, brave statesman do when protests showed up outside his door? He said that he has COVID and he disappeared to an undisclosed secret location. I mean, the guy disappeared faster than the color of his skin. Just imagine, the Prime Minister of a country is making the excuse that college students make when they haven't completed their assignments on time. Yeah, listen, Professor, I can't come in today. Can't submit the assignment. I have COVID. I have really bad COVID. Yeah, I'll see you next week. All right, thank you. Time for some Teletubbies. A lot of people in Canada have been speculating where Justin Trudeau could be hiding, but some eagle-eyed Twitter users from India were able to find out that Justin Trudeau was actually using this time in hiding to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a pop star in Afghanistan. The Sham Sharma show has also obtained an exclusive clip of the Indian Prime Minister's phone call to Justin Trudeau. It's amazing. The guy was asking Modi to engage with protesters while he himself has gone into hiding. What happened, Mr. Trudeau? What changed? In fact, by the time of this recording, Trudeau has announced that he won't even meet the truckers, and in fact, he's calling them violent extremists.
But I have also chosen to not go anywhere near protests that have expressed hateful rhetoric, violence towards fellow citizens, and a disrespect not just of science, but of the frontline health workers.
Which is interesting because contrast this with the time when he gave a public apology to and gave $10.5 million of taxpayer money to convicted Al-Qaeda terrorist Omar Khadr. Contrast this as well with the time when Justin Trudeau went to an openly Khalistani event where photographs and flags of Bhindranwale were being openly displayed. And look, I can understand why he doesn't want to go and talk to the truckers. He's already said that the truckers are extremists and that they're white supremacists, and Trudeau being a person of color, I can totally understand why he would feel uncomfortable around such people. And while mainstream media is ignoring these protests the way PETA ignores the slaughter of millions of goats during the season of Eid, I was personally quite surprised to see the silence of superstar singers like Greta Thunberg.
You all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? How dare you?
Farming experts like Rihanna, self-made people who would never freeload off their family name like Meena Harris, and world-famous social servants like Mia Khalifa. Surely Mia Khalifa can relate to the truckers because much like her, they've been going hard all day, all night. I know these truckers don't have the kind of funding that George Soros has, but surely they still deserve their support. I'll tell you what, to Greta, Rihanna, Mia Khalifa, Meena Harris, I know you guys are busy, but I've prepared a statement for you. All you have to do is sign the statement. Here's the statement. I'm really worried to see the news coming from Canada about the protest by brave truckers. This situation is very concerning. We are all very worried about our family and friends in Canada. Let me remind you, liberals of the world will always be there to defend the rights of peaceful protests, of peaceful protesters. I wasn't able to sleep a wink all of last night, thinking about thousands of truck drivers who are protesting in minus 20-degree temperatures in Ottawa, Canada right now. Prime Minister Trudeau, these are Canadian citizens. They are not terrorists. I request you to go to the protest site and engage with the protesters instead of hiding. I request the international community to come forward and support the Canada truckers who are fighting for their rights, and instead of talking to them, instead of engaging them in constructive dialogue, Justin Trudeau is hiding in a hole somewhere. Hashtag justice for truckers, hashtag no truckers, no food. Let me know where I can send this open letter and I will have it delivered to you tomorrow. It's funny that many Indian fact checkers are actually fact checking memes that are being made about this truckers protest. And to these Indian simps, I just have one thing to say.
नहीं देगी.
And now we come to another great statesman of Canada, Jagmeet Singh, who much like fellow person of color Justin Trudeau, poked his nose into India's internal affairs just to cozy up to his Punjabi vote base. And also much like Justin Trudeau is currently in the middle of a meltdown calling these truckers white supremacists. You know, Jagmeet Singh, he's like your nosy aunt who can't just mind her own business and has to insert herself into your personal affairs. And also if your aunt supported terrorism. Because Jagmeet Singh has been routinely accused of supporting Khalistani terrorists. In fact, he has also appeared at openly Khalistani events.
Signs called it a sovereignty rally. A poster calling the leader of a violent Sikh extremist group a saint dominated the stage where Jagmeet Singh gave his speech.
So for Jagmeet Singh to be concerned about white supremacists and extremism is a bit like your WhatsApp uncle being concerned about too many good morning messages and non-scientific COVID treatments. But what has been really funny about this whole thing is that while Jagmeet Singh has been complaining about the truckers' protest being a white supremacist protest, his own Khalistan supporting brother-in-law turned out to be the third largest donor to the truckers' rally. Jagmeet Singh must be thinking,
छाती में चाकू मार आगे से नहीं पीछे से.
Jagmeet Singh must be like, now I know why brother-in-laws are called Sala in India. So now you have Khalistani supporters supporting the government and Khalistani supporters supporting the truckers protest as well. I'm sure there's a term for this in the porn industry. I can't put my finger on it. And now the chickens are coming home to roost because Canadian intelligence agencies have been warning Justin Trudeau about the Khalistani problem, and Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh have continued to ignore this problem for the sake of appeasement politics. And much like untreated gonorrhea, the Khalistanis are now causing the Canadian government pain in uncomfortable places. I would know anything about that. But if I can be serious for a second, as an Indian and in the interest of developing a better relationship between the two great democracies of India and Canada, and with great respect to the political position and the leadership of Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh, and as suggested by Trudeau, I think a mature diplomatic dialogue and engagement is the need of the hour. And so in the interest of enabling this mature dialogue, I have prepared a list of suggestions and recommendations. Oh, actually, it's just 2 words.
Suck it.
And that's today's video. If you like today's video, make sure to leave us a like, leave a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy this content, make sure to trend on social media, hashtag no truckers, no food. If you like the Sham Sharma Show and if you'd like to support the Sham Sharma Show, become a member on Patreon and on YouTube. I will see you for the next episode, and until then, stay healthy, stay happy. I'll see you next time, and to all of you, a secular now.